Okay, what's new in PRJ? Well, it's totally different to X30. We've got a lot more stuff in it, so let's talk you through it. So, heat. There are no points for where you finish in the heat, no championship points. You get the championship points only at the end of each race meet. So that's a big change. There is no grinding to do well in the championship. But there is also no target rivals. So you cannot grind to get tyres and get aces. So what we've done is boost the race meets, the aces race meets with those aces. Tyres, we're going to walk through this in this video. There's two basic tyres, the Cont or stock. They have 3 compounds and they all work in different temperature ranges. Soft, mediums and hards are the different compounds for each tyre. Sponsorship. You're going to want long-term sponsorship deals in PRJ. Otherwise you may run an SKD loss. They start on the Sunday and finish on the Monday. So you need to try and get a sponsorship deal in that time. Race Pass. There's special events with the subscription service Race Pass. Race Pass will multiply the aces you can get for daily aces race meets, and that leads us on to this one. They last a bit longer in PRJ. They last 48 hours but have much bigger payouts. So Aces race meets also give you championship points, so you want to do well in these Aces events. You don't want to skip them. They contribute to the championship, and the championship offers much bigger payouts at the end because you can win SKD. So championship position earns you currency. So what you want to do is you want to do well in the championships. If you don't do well in the championships, you may run into loss, especially if you haven't got the sponsorship. So you want to get the sponsorship at the beginning. There's still short-term sponsorships available, but in PRJ, there is no right answer in terms of setup and karts. It's not like X30 where there are specific karts that do really well. This is much more about the combination and the balance of different items. Okay, so let's go through it. Okay, so in PRJ we've got a few different karts to choose from, but I would recommend starting with the Zanardi. The Zanardi is a great kart, and the Choicer kart also offers different versions and different levels of sponsorship. So you can get sponsorship with Zanardi or other teams based on the teams that you're involved with and the teams that you have. It's much more story based. If you start off with the Zanardi, that will lead you through to events for Zanardi and Kart Republic. Burrell Art will lead you through to options for Burrell Art. So there's different stories for different brands. Okay, let's talk about tyre strategy. Now there are 2 main types of tyre, or 2 different tyre brands in PRJ that you want. That's not to say you can't use the Super Softs or the SSL tyres that you had in X30, but you'll probably enjoy more using the Cont or the stock tyres, as they will probably have a little bit more grip than the SS tyres and the SSL tyres. But the grip is needed because of the extra power that you have in PRJ. So if you want to have fun time sliding around on SS tyres, you can, but they are not the choice that you really want to have to be quick. So let's talk about compounds. The Cont compound is really important. It gives you 3 different choices. You have the soft compound, the medium compound, and the hard compound. And the soft works in cooler temperatures, the medium in warm temperatures, and the hard compound in hot temperatures. But you will find that you can use the hard generally across the board. It will work fairly well in warm temperatures, and mediums will work fairly well in both hot and cool temperatures. You'll have to choose when to use the soft tyre, as that's much more sensitive to heat, but they are all fairly sensitive to heat, and so you will want to pick and choose the right tyre for the right moment. On top of that, there will be some times where you want to use tyres with the right amount of grip. For example, the durability, which is a critical bit here, the durability of the mediums and the hards will help you on 5 and 6 lap races as opposed to the 3 lap races. So you may find that it's faster to use the soft in hotter temperatures on 3 lap races, but it may also be faster, depending on your driving style, to use the hard compound tyres in hotter temperatures for 3 lap races. So you've got to make some interesting choices here about what to use, and that will depend on various other factors, which we'll talk about a little bit later in terms of radiators and engines, etc. So very briefly on the stock tyre, there may be certain temperatures where you find that there is more grip with the stock tyre than there is with the Cont. But this will be up to you to work out and up to you to decide. The choice will also depend broadly on your engine, radiator, and overall power combination that's going to come with your choices. So we'll look at that shortly. But for the tyres, that should give you some ideas as to what your options are. Right, let's talk about the other choices you have. By the way, if you have any questions, you want to understand this a bit more, I haven't explained something correctly and you want a bit more information, do comment below because I will answer them and the team will answer them as soon as we can. So let's very briefly talk about tyre cost. The Conts, if you buy them in race prep, are 20 aces, but you can get them cheaper depending on whether you watch a video at the Aces race meets or not. There will also be opportunities to get cheaper tyres by getting better sponsorship deals. I'll say that again. Get sponsorship deals with somebody like a Cont and you can get cheaper tyres with that brand. Okay, I'm not going to say that again. That's your option. When you want to go get some tyres, that's one of the ways to do it, to get them at a discounted price and be able to race more and set faster times. Okay. Power versus grip. This is really important in PRJ to balance the level of grip that you have with the amount of power available to you. It will be possible to have too much power for the amount of grip that you have. The options on the kart are the same as they were in X30, barring carburetors, which will come shortly. The ability to adjust those is not available just yet, but it will happen. So here you can see the Zanardi B. You can adjust the radiators just like you can in X30. Some radiators consume more fuel, this will be important, others less, others have more power, and it obviously depends on which temperature zone that you're operating in as to which one's going to be the most efficient and effective. But you're going to want to look at the combination and the balance between the fuel, the power, and other factors. Okay, so engine obviously offers more power, and there are a range of different engines. There's the MT engine, there's the IAME engine, and there's the Rovtech engine, plus the stock engine and plus the Ventus engine as well. So you've got some really interesting choices and options here, and they all have slightly different qualities. Some burn fuel faster, some burn it more conservatively, some have the power sweet spots in a slightly different part of the range, but all the engines max out at 14,000 RPMs. That's got a restrictor on it because in Pro 1 these engines will go at 16,000 RPM. Some of them have different durability, some of them cost more to service, so you'll have to go through and choose a brand that you like for the kind of qualities that you want, and the one that's going to get you the results that you want based on where you want to finish in the championship and based on the kind of kart that you've got, because these will work better in some karts than others. So balancing off the engine against the kart is going to be really important, because the type of kart you choose in terms of where the grip is, if it's at the front, if it's the rear, or the way you set up the chassis, or for the type of track, will be really, really important to give you some balance between grip and power. And just to remember that the factors that influence power are obviously the engine itself, but also the radiator, the exhaust for the top end or the bottom end speed, and obviously then the weight of the kart with all the other factors. In addition, you've also got the fuel. You will want to lower the weight of your tank generally, but with the 3.5 litre tank, 100 octane fuel, which is the top end fuel in this tier, may only last you 5 laps. Okay, so let's go head to head and show the softs against the mediums. Notice that it's the same driver, and on the right, the mediums are started on the second row of the grid rather than the first. The temperature here is 24 degrees. The karts have exactly the same setup. It's the stock engine, it's 100 octane fuel, and it is the power finger exhaust, so the wrong exhaust for the track. And the radiator is the SK Works, which is the standard radiator to use on this track. As should really happen, there's a mistake there on the left. It's cost quite a bit of time, so that's not the best road. But barring that, the test really is just to show what the difference in the performance of the tyres is at 24 degrees, bearing in mind that the medium should work better on the hard. The medium should work better on warmer temperatures, whereas the soft should work better in slightly cooler temperatures. So the medium should have an advantage, and this is over 6 laps. But what you'll see here is that the softs hold up pretty well. So there's quite a lot of grip at the beginning, and barring that mistake, I would imagine that the softs would have been up by more than a second. As you can see, the first lap there was 54 seconds, 54 seconds, as opposed to 55. For the mediums. So there's about a second a lap or half a second a lap difference between the two tyres at this point. Bearing in mind this is not optimum temperatures for the softs, it's too hot for them, so they will be quite a bit quicker in cooler conditions. So what you're going to have to work out is where the balance is. There you are, the mediums just put in a fast lap there, so that's made it 1-1 in terms of lap times. But what you have to work out really is how to balance off the tyre wear and the temperatures. And this is quite a difficult thing to do because you need to try and get a feel for your kart as well, because the engines all have different performances. The radiators add various complexities to it as well, and obviously it depends on which exhaust you have. In this case, you may have found that the Firebird was much faster with the softs because of the additional grip at the beginning. Whereas it probably favours the mediums because there's slightly less grip, but the power finger gives you the boost off the start, and that's pretty much it. Whereas I think the softs would have benefited on the medium to fast corners where more grip is required. But as we can see here, we're on lap 4 now. It's pretty close. There's definitely the mediums are starting to come back into it. There may even be at this point. Or they're just behind, actually, not too far away. But the interesting thing is that the softs are still holding their grip. You're on 4 laps already, and it's still pretty grippy there. It's a 48.1 on the last lap, so it's not slow. And a 48.3 for the mediums. Definitely not slow. Let's see what they do at the end of the lap. I would imagine the mediums are starting to come back. It looks like it may even be just ahead. Let's see. Oh, that's tight. So 47.9 there for the mediums. That's much faster than the 48.4 run on the softs, but it was a bit of a special lap. So you have to allow for some driver inadequacies here. So as you can see now, the tyres for the softs have gone into the yellow, and at the point it gets to the yellow, there's quite a big drop off in performance now. You'll see the softs sliding a bit. Can't quite put it where you want to. It's close, but it's not quite on the apex. Here can they nail it? That's it. It's pretty good. But it's tight here on the apex again. But the medium is much faster through that series of corners now, and looks like just creeping ahead. So it's a 48.7 for the softs. So they've started to drop off by about 3/10 there, and a 48.5 with virtually no drop off then for the mediums, if you consider the fact that 47.9 was a bit of a special lap. So we're on the last lap. Mediums definitely ahead now, but you can see with the softs that the tyres are starting to grain. You can see you just can't put it where you want to. Missing the apex there, just got it here. But the speeds, even there's a speed differential if you look at the speeds here. And coming out of the sequence of corners, yeah, the softs can hold it there, you manage to get the apex, but you can see the grip is really right down. So there you are, 4 laps won by the mediums and 2 laps to the softs at 24 degrees on a 6-lap race. Now, let's go straight to a full run on the mediums. We know the mediums are now faster, so if you do a full run with a car, probably says that, oh, that's a bit of a horrible line through there, called a bump. So here we are, same track, same conditions, 24 degrees, but with the kart completely kitted out. So previously there was a 6-litre tank on the Zanardi. In this race, the tank is a 3.5 litre with 100 octane fuel on it, with a Firebird exhaust, and I believe it's an AF radiator, which is perfect-ish for the conditions. So you'll find that we were running sort of 47s and low 48s in the last race. Now with all the kit on, what are we running? We're running broadly, the first lap is a 53.5. The first lap in the mediums last time around was a 55. It's 1.5 seconds faster just by getting the right setup. It makes a huge difference to get the right engine, exhaust and radiator combination. Do that and get the weight right as well. Particularly getting the weight right matters a lot, obviously in karting. That's where the time can be made up. So we're now on lap 2. As you can see, the mediums are now planting themselves exactly where you want them. They're right in the temperature zone here. You can really put it where you want it. It goes right on the apex, here again on the apex. Straight out, or hit the barrier there, but not bad. I mean, if we hadn't hit that barrier, actually, we'd been a good time. It was 47.7, which is faster than we had it the fastest lap last time, which was a bit special, which was 47.9. Okay, we're into lap 3 out of 6. Didn't quite hit the apex there, and didn't hit it there either, so that's not a great line through that. That's probably more driver error rather than a kart error. You can see that the fuel is now just over halfway down. Over the curbs, great. But the tyres are holding up. I only used about a quarter of the tyre wear. Nice tight line through there, tight line through there. You can put the kart wherever you want, and it's on after 3 laps. You're still able to do what you need with it. So it's a 48.1, not quite as quick as we were before, but it's a low lap. Given that we're running 48.3s and 48.4s. Again, still running a little bit wide, but it's a bit better there. And a line through here, we're flat virtually, it's a 70, 71. Oh, this is a good line here. What can we get? Oh, right across the grass, but it's still on the apex there. Not too impressive at driving, but it's still not bad. Didn't quite get the apex there. Apex here. This is going to be fast. 47.6. So the tyre's really holding up well. I lost the back a bit there. That's not great. This is the thing with these karts in PRJ. You've got the power, but you can lose the back. You're wrestling the kart all the time, and it's great fun because of that. You've got to slightly overcorrect sometimes. There's a little bit of overcorrection. Got to hold it through here up to 70, 71. Cut in here. It's nice, neat through here. Bit wide. Fuel's gone into the red. That's the 100 octane fuel. Lap 5 into the red. Tight through here. It's not bad. Could be a bit better, but it's tight on the apex and through. Again, a bit of overcorrection. 48.1, so still not a bad lap. It's not spot on, but it's not bad. Tight through there. What can we get? So the target's a 44 minutes 43.059. We won't get that because that was set with a much better car. So level 3 car, losing the back there a bit. Oof. That wasn't great. You can see the tyres are just starting to go now on the 6th lap. Through here, still trying to be as fast as we can. Fuel is very, very low. We may run out. This is tight. Lift and coast, maybe. Alright, this is where the strategy comes in. Might have to lift. See, last corner, we might be all right. It's going to be tight. What can we do? It's a 48.1 again. So the times that we were setting right at the beginning are the times that we're setting at the end. You can see the consistency there. 48.1, 47.6, 48.1, 48.1. So it's pretty good. Anyway, that's the tyres and the engines and the balancing of the karts on PRJ. You can see that you've got to wrestle them through. It's lots and lots of fun, and hopefully you're really going to enjoy it. Anyway, this is it for the tyre strategy component, and we'll be doing more on other areas of the game shortly. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you racing.